Pickaxe.
Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys review Rebuilding Chicago, Toy Battle, and Castelnuovo 1539, Come Whenever You Dare. Plus, Marty reviews some video games he's been playing. Are these the same video games where you're yelling and throwing things at the TV?
Oh, you know those. Hello and welcome to episode number 378 of Rolling Dice and Taking Names. Name of this episode is King of the Road. I'm Tony.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at this song title.
It's by Roger Miller.
Is this like from the 60s or 70s?
70s, I believe. Roger Miller. I don't know when he actually recorded it. So
King of the Road. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess there's a reason for this.
Well, that's because I went out to our Discord server and was reading some of the comments, and someone said, with the passing of a NASCAR legend, we really should name the title after something. And King of the Road was in a movie I never saw, so go ahead and start booing me now, Talladega Nights. So I've tied it all together.
So you're referring to, man, why are we starting on such downers, man? I assume you're referring to Kyle Busch, very popular NASCAR driver. For those who may not know, was only 41 years old. Going to be a Hall of Famer. Basically had a sinus infection, turned to pneumonia, got sepsis. And things took a turn quick. And we are in NASCAR country. Tony and I are from Charlotte, North Carolina. We've got the NASCAR Hall of Fame here. So obviously a lot of the sports around here revolves around NASCAR. So it hit the community pretty hard when this happened last week.
Yeah, it did. Because they didn't know why. He was in a race simulator, and suddenly things got really bad for him, and they rushed him to the hospital. And within 24 hours, unfortunately, he passed away. So yeah, he was known for Truck Series, getting his start over there. Very young driver, and the fact was he. I don't say this to try to draw too much conclusion or things from the standpoint of they equated him kind of like to what Earnhardt was back in Earnhardt's glory days, because Earnhardt was a fierce competitor, and he would put you in the Sack Creek concrete wall if he could, So and that's how he was, and he drove very hard, and that was, I think, we were into NASCAR in the 90s, along with everybody else. It seemed like, not was it the 90s? It may have been the 2000s. I can't remember now. Time flies by. And I just remember all the hubbub around it. And I was like, oh man, he was like the up and coming. He was like the next Jeff Gordon and all the greats in NASCAR.
And he was in the prime of his career at that point. So obviously it's a big loss to the community. So, I don't follow a lot of NASCAR, but it's one of those things that even though I know who Kyle Busch is, and I know how big he is and how popular and how great of a driver he was. So, and it's just because it was the weirdest circumstance. Okay. Earnhardt went out in a race. He went out probably the way he would want to go out, but this one was just so weird. Man, sepsis is bad.
Yes.
Like, you get sepsis, and there's so many ways it can happen too. It's like, recovery from that's really rough. Even if you recover, you can have lifelong effects from it.
Right. I think there was somebody I knew that was having knee surgery at work one time, and he got sepsis. That's why they try to get you out of the hospital as quickly as possible. That stuff don't matter. Where'd you catch sepsis? At the hospital? What? Surgery? What? Who knows? But anyway, yeah. So next episode, number 379, maybe we'll have an up song. We'll see. We'll see what happens from that standpoint.
From that standpoint, I should put a little counter.
I did that.
That's twice.
I will not do that again. The whole show, I was just trying to get it out of my system.
Funny. Before we get along much further, first, I would like to commend you on today's recording apparel.
Thank you.
We showed up wearing the exact same t-shirt that we got from Southern Fried Gaming Expo, the red one. the chances of this happening are pretty darn slim because I never wear this shirt except maybe when I'm getting ready to go run. And I went and ran this morning. It's like, I'm just going to put this one. That's hilarious. So we turn on the cameras and boom, here we are. Maybe I'll share a little clip or a picture.
And I've noticed yours is mine. I keep a lot of my shirts very pristine. They stay in the closet, and I just say, you know what? I rotate my t-shirts out, and yours is, your dye. What is this? Decal. It's a lot cleaner than mine. Mine looks more worn.
I don't know. Maybe it's the way they're washed. I don't know. I don't know if Vanessa washes them gentle. I'm not sure.
I'm like my third time wearing it, so I have no idea. And that's somewhat reminds me, I need to send you something for our Instagram post from this morning. Got out and taught my son-in-law Hiroshima Hex this morning. Okay.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
And he just happened to be drinking out of a vintage Rolling Dice and Taking Names coffee mug.
Oh, with the original logo?
Yeah, from our good friend Steve Gibbs. And he was sitting there drinking. I said, hold on, I need to get a picture of this. I'll have to send it over to Marty. So after the show, I'll send that over to you for the, you can do two classics together. We're not 20 years old like Hiroshima Hex, but getting pretty darn close.
So yeah, this convention that we're talking about, Southern Fried Gaming Expo, takes place this year a lot later than what it normally does because of the World Cup that's happening in Atlanta. This convention happens in Atlanta. And so this year it happens to take place on the same weekend as Gencon, which is a little segue to a statement that we need to make. Obviously, you have not heard us talk about the strike tournament this year, and that's because, unfortunately, we're going to have to postpone it for a year because Tony knew this last year. He said, I'm not going to be able to go to Gen Con in 2026. And then I was struggling with, do I try to run this by myself? And I had several people, y'all, that came up and said, Marty, I'll help you do this. And I appreciate that. I appreciate people who stepped up and said, if you want this event to happen, let me help you get organized and everything. I just hate putting that sort of pressure on people because it is a lot to get this event up and running. And for people just to freely offer their time, I appreciate it, and they might would have come through. I just didn't want to burden them with that. So I've made the decision. I just don't think I can do it by myself. And for that reason, we're going to postpone our annual strike tournament for this year until 2027, which means Dice in the Ball reigns supreme for one more year.
Fine.
So, there's one good thing that comes out of it.
Yeah, Gladiators in Arena have forfeited this year. Okay. We're good. I mean, we're on a losing streak. What's one more loss? Okay. Might as well take a forfeit. Yeah. I hate that I cannot make it. So we'll look about what 2027 holds for us and how we can go ahead. What's interesting is Spaghetti Warehouse always contacts me in March and April. They say, do you want your contract for this year? They have not done that. So
interesting.
Yes, very interesting. I'm not saying they're out of business. I don't think they are. It's just usually the management, they go through who has all the reservations and say, hey, are you sure you still want next year? And because they usually just have us rotating around, but they have not done that this year.
Yeah. So maybe we need to, well in advance of 2027, go ahead and get it on the books just in case. Maybe somebody else jumped in before us and grabbed it. Who knows? So maybe towards the end of this year, after Gen Con, we just go ahead and put, okay, a year from now, we would like to go ahead and at least request it for then. So I hate we're going to miss everybody being there. It's always a fantastic event. Everybody has such a great time, and we appreciate all the positive response we get from the event. So we'll try to make it up to you in 2027.
Okay. So that does mean that you and Vanessa are not going to Gen Con this year?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
Gen Con, Vanessa is for sure not going this year. It's just, it's during school for her, so she couldn't take off.
How's it during school? It's in July.
Because she does year-round. Oh, she's on a year-round schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, so she goes back early. So I don't know if I'm going to go by myself or not. Okay. So I actually have to decide this week because the people who helped me get a hotel need to know this week. So I'll have to let them know something.
And I do like the fact that you didn't assign someone else. You looked like it's a lot of pressure for them. I'm like, maybe they could do a better job. Just throwing that out there. You know?
Who knows? I do know this. I will be somewhere. I will either be at Gencon or I'll be in Atlanta at Southern Fried.
Okay.
So I've got lodgings at both locations. So I will be at one of those two places.
Why don't we just continue to ride the roller coaster on the downhill run here? We're not peaking at the top. We're just going to continue to plummet the show. Do we have any more bad news that we need to break out here?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Moving on. We were able to have a game day on Saturday. These are hard to come by due to the schedules recently. And a friend of ours, Kevin Barron, held a game day, and we were able to get over there. Thank you, Kevin, so much for hosting us. Showed up around 10 in the morning, and we were able to get in one of I think Marty and I's favorite games from a war game, and that was Quartermaster General World War II. I forget how much I love that game. That is so good.
It is so, it really is. And it's best. We only had 5 people there. It's best when you got 6, because every person plays as their own country. And when there's less than that, there's people that have to take on multiple countries at a time. But it is a very straightforward game, but everybody kind of sitting around jockeying for position. It's an area control game. We've reviewed this game in the past. If you want to go look in our previous episodes, we've talked about actually several versions of Quartermaster General. There's a World War I, World War II. I think I may have talked about the 2-player version I play with my dad. Tony, I'm actually going to get that to you this week.
Excellent.
It's was it
Southern Front?
Was it Eastern or Southern
Front?
Southern Front that I got. That came out last year, which is, again, 2-player version of it. It's about logistics, right? I mean, it's one of those things where you have to build supply lines, maintain supplies back to your headquarters. It's attacking each other. It's a really cool historical game, but it's rules light. It's not that bad. Yeah.
The card play. That's what I love about it. I mean, everybody has cards that tell you, hey, you can do a land battle. You can do a sea battle. Oh, look, here's something that gives you the ability to, on your turn, at the start of your turn, you're able to look at an additional 4 cards and stack your deck. Loved that card when we were playing. By the way, everybody, I was Germany. We didn't win, but it was, the Allies were sweating some bullets there because the game ramped just like it does historically to me. I know that, as the longer that Germany holds on, the weaker it gets, it felt like, and it felt true to me. That felt very historical to me. That's another reason why I like it. I like the fact that the balance of the various powers in this game, where the Allies, the U.S. was a lot of Navy, and you had the multiple fronts. That's the other brilliance of this World War II game, of having both. Not only, it's not just Germany, you've got Japan, you've got the whole world. And I just felt like we were kind of sort of being generals. I know, Quartermaster General in a way. And that's one of the things that, from this game that I walk away with, the feeling of, hey, okay, we didn't win, but I felt like I did play my best based on the card draw. And that's probably the one thing those who are very big into historical, luck of the cards may be a turnoff for some. It's not for me. I enjoy it.
Yeah. It's one of those things this is one of those weird situations where I wanted to be able to move, and I just could not get the move cards out on the table. So I was kind of isolated for a while. Every country has its own deck of cards. Every deck is a little bit different. You mentioned, there's the move, the land battles, sea battles, but there's also reaction cards that you can have face down on the table that will trigger during a game, which creates this really cool tension of when you're looking at somebody with a lot of face down cards in front of them, and it's like, if I go after them, would I succeed? Because I don't know what some of those reaction cards are brutal. When they flip over, it's like, oh, you just attacked me. I'm sorry, it failed. That sort of thing. There's also cards, like you mentioned, that you put in play are just ongoing abilities. And these reaction cards and ongoing abilities are different per country. So it's always a great time I play. it's one of those that I've kept on my shelf. I don't get to play it that often, but when I heard it was coming out, it's like, yes, I am all in. Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Another one that Kevin put on the table near the end of the day was Moon Colony Bloodbath. And I just want to briefly touch on this one because if you haven't heard of this, now Kevin went on a Bonacour's cruise. He and his wife went on a Bonacour's cruise. The Podfather had they went through the Panama Canal and they were playing board games. Great time, Kevin said. They had an amazing time. So this Moon Colony Bloodbath, he saw it there. He played it there. They were playing it constantly. And Marty, I mean, for me, I was thinking about it because I saw it on our show notes. I was like, how would be the best high level to explain it? And I'm thinking it's kind of a tableau builder that you're trying to draft cards. You've got some resources, but the biggest concept is you're trying to keep the people alive on your moon base. And that, to me, was one of the unique things about this game from a countdown of when the game ends. If all the people die, whoever has people left is the winner. It was a tableau builder, wasn't it?
I guess kind of. I think the unique thing for me was this event deck that starts out. And it's not that the event deck is not bad. There'll be these cards called work. When those pop up, you have 4 things you can do. Maybe draw some cards, get some resources, etc. To be able to put cards into play, build basically buildings on your moon that has a population. But as this deck goes on, it adds robots and monsters to it. And when the deck empties, you shuffle and keep going over and over. But when those monsters come up, it says you lose 8 citizens or 8 colonists or 10 colonists. And so you start out with a supply and they just keep going down over time. Well, if the supply tokens you have built up aren't enough to cover your losses, you have to start destroying the buildings that you built because each of those hold a certain number of population. There's ways you can kind of mitigate that where on our turn, we can contribute one of our own personal cards to that event deck, which are always good for us.
Can you?
When this one...
I never got that. Well, I never got that action. Thank you.
Well, you should have done that.
I would have liked to.
That was really good. So when those cards pop up, only the person that it references can get to do it. Like, hey, add 2 population. Marty, you're the one that added this card to this deck. You're the only one that gets to do this. So this deck grows over time as the game goes on, but it gets harder every time because more and more monsters and stuff. So eventually one colony crumbles. And then you go, who has the largest population left? Congrats, you win. I compared it to Empire's End. Everybody has all their buildings and everything. Everything's looking pristine, but everything starts to burn over time. And basically, the best empire left standing wins. Here, the best moon colony left standing wins. So it is chaotic. It creates great tension. This was a very popular game that came out last year that people loved. I'm glad I got to play it. I would actually love to have a copy of it because I love the tension that Empire's End gave, and this gives the same tension.
And a lot easier. It was a lot easier to understand.
Way easier.
The cards, the moon bases that you were building were very simple. Like, instead of spending money to build a research facility, you can actually use food. I had one of those. Now, there wasn't a lot of variety in the cards. I did note that. So sometimes I'm thinking, okay, am I looking for certain cards to be able to build my moon base? But to keep it from being stale, it is that event deck. It's that randomness of the event deck, because if you have bad thing after bad thing, I think of it like having multiple pandemics. If you don't have that tableau built with the population, that game's going to ramp out real quick for some people. And seriously, we were joking, but I never got the cards that allowed me to put my personal cards into the deck. It wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't, so what? But it was a fun family's game. So maybe it's not, don't call it Bloodbath. Just say the people are leaving the moon. How about that? Let's go with that if you want to get the make it more family friendly.
Oh, no, they destroyed by monsters. They killed. They gone.
Okay. All right. Danger, Will Robinson.
So I kept seeing this game pop up. I get it. The art's kind of silly. It's from Rio Grande. It's who designed? Oh, the same guy that designed Dominion.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. God, now I have to go check myself because all I need is like, hey, you guys hadn't given away $5 in a while. Maybe it's time I get $5 from you. Donald X Vicarno, which is the Dominion guy. Yes.
Hey, okay. Good for Donald.
Donald X Vaccarino. Yeah. So anyway, nice job, dude. That's a good one.
One thing, unfortunately, Marty and I had to leave, but one thing Mark got to play we are looking forward to is Obsession, and he was raving about that. Don't have a lot to report other than Mark Kell in our gaming group says, hey, he loved Obsession, so we'll see.
He bought it.
Yeah.
He actually bought it. So, because I've heard a lot of amazing things about this game, and I've always wanted to try it. It's a kind of a pricey game, so I'm glad he bought it so I didn't have to.
He's made him money. Star Wars Unlimited real quick. Just want to touch on that. Been playing with a lot of fun decks, but I am sad that the Jump to Lightspeed group is leaving. The deck is going to rotate out, and I am loving the pilot concept of that. And I've told them this in a text, and I'm like, Marty, I really hope to see these guys again. I like the ability of having cards that I can either... I'm keeping my daughter's dogs this week, so we're going to hopefully keep this in. So we'll let them talk behind.
That's fine. It's a professional podcast here.
And they're done. Just like that.
Okay.
Don't know why. Don't know what set them off. Anyway, pilots, I like the fact that they can be land or space as an upgrade. Mm-hmm. And I never really got into the Jump to Lightspeed, so I'm glad I'm getting to experience that one. Some of these older sets, it's just like there's some really good nuances here I never really got to explore. So I'm happy that we're playing a lot now.
And the nice thing is you say it's getting ready to go away. It's not going to go away till like next February or March. So you've got plenty of months to enjoy JTL too. And I'm kind of excited about some of the cards coming out from Ashes of the Empire. I can't remember what the next set is, but they've teased some really good ones in there. All right. Speaking of that game day that we referenced, we got to play a new game that we're going to cover called Rebuilding Chicago. We'll talk about that next, right after this ad.
Head over to shopportalgames.com. Get all those awesome titles that Ignacy has for you. Played Hiroshima Hex with the son-in-law. First time we played, he got time constraint, but I said, hey, I need you to try this to see if I need to break out the anniversary edition. We tried it. He says, yeah, go ahead and break out that anniversary edition. He enjoyed it. He liked the simplicity of it. There were a few more rules that trying to play it real quick, so I screwed up on a few of the things. Imagine that. Like, when does a unit get to move if it has the move icon on it? And I'm like, listen, let's just play quickly through it, let you get through the basic mechanics, go through the initiative levels. He was really digging that concept of the game of adjusting the initiative. We kept the team simple, and I was like, okay, we'll ramp it up next time. We'll put in some more difficult armies. Still need to get a copy of Wireman. Head over to Shop Portal Games. I can do that. Still got a lot of games on liquidation sale over there, including Imperial Settlers Rise of the Empire. That's the expansion 2. Imperial Settlers, if you got a copy. Gutenberg is only $7. Basilica, $5. Printing Press, $5. Dreadful Circus. I don't know why this game didn't get more love. This was a good high count player game. I like that. Where you have the hidden selection mechanism between everybody, the bluffing that's going on. Enjoyed that. Always be sure to check out all the games they have at shopportalgames.com.
Rebuilding Chicago was a following up to the game Rebuilding Seattle by designer Quinn Brander. This game is from WizKids Games. Very, very high level. What is this game? It is a draft and tile placement game. That's extremely high level because it's much more than that. The biggest thing about the game is you have a tableau in front of you that you're going to be placing different shaped tokens or buildings or landmarks onto your board to fit them on the best way you can in order to generate points. So very common tile drafting, placement, how you place them, you get points. But there's a lot more going on in this because I would consider this kind of a midweight game. A lot of tile placement games, Tony, are very light. This one is a step above a lot of the light games that we've covered recently.
And one thing you said, and as we go to talk about it, I know we'll get a little bit more in depth in some of the actions, but the tile placement, I want people to know that it's not like you're in a confined space, right? You're not trying to do a 4x4 or a 5x5, which was probably one of the first unique things that when you were talking to me, you were like, okay, you have your initial starting board, but hey, guess what? You can expand your neighborhood and add any way you want these other tiles where you can then place your buildings onto it. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's different. And I did not play Rebuilding Seattle.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Rebuilding
Seattle. I mean, theme matter. Chicago burned to the ground, and now we got to rebuild it.
Yeah. So everybody drafts a neighborhood. Each of the boards represents one of the neighborhoods in Chicago. Each one is laid out a little bit differently. But like you said, Tony, the board has in the upper right quadrant basically a starting grid of where you're going to put buildings, but eventually over time, there's actions that you're going to take that allow you to build out the suburbs of this neighborhood, and developing that land will allow you to place other buildings basically onto your board. And during your turn, you're going to take one of three actions: buy a building card, activate an event, or enact one law. The tile drafting placement part is buying that building card. There is a market on the main board of a lot of buildings that are available to you. But Tony, what's interesting is I love multi-use cards. And each of these building cards are multi-use. One is, hey, you're going to get this building and place it. Or maybe the other half is, oh, this is going to be permanently in play because at the end of the round, there's a profit phase. And during the profit phase, you're going to get some bonuses. Or here's an end of game scoring condition. If you have this end of game condition, you'll score some additional points. So these cards you draft, you might not use for building something. You might use it for the other ability instead. One of the other things is there's 3 quality track improvements that you want to go up over time. These cards may also increase that. And depending on what the state of the game is or your board is, you're going to look at, well, which one of these do I want to buy? You have money that you spend to buy those cards. They range anywhere from $4 to $6. And Tony, what's interesting is though, they don't automatically refill. I thought this was interesting because as people buy up cards, if you want to have some more cards available to you, you have to pay $1 to refill the spots that are there. So not automatically refilling. Sometimes you just avoid it because there's not a lot of choice and you hope somebody else will spend that dollar to rebuild or refill that supply.
On these building cards, you talked about the 2 sections of it, and that made it hard to pick which one you want. And I also noticed that they weren't symmetrical in what they gave you. You know, like, hey, you get to build a green one, but on the quality track, you're going to push up the purple disc, or you're going to take the blue symbol and it may push up the purple track. It was one of those things where I like that in this game, where the building cards that you were getting, you weren't going to always get the aspect tied to the building. And I know I just really convoluted that. It was one of those things.
I have no idea what he just said, y'all. I played the game.
I know you played. So the card, you got to pick a certain type of building. When you drafted that card to build a card, you got to pick one of the many buildings.
Well, I mean, the card told you you'll get, it's not you did get to pick the building. The card says you take this one particular shape building of this color. And the colors matter because depending on the type of scoring you're trying to do. And also the color matters because these buildings have symbols on them that will actually drive up your
amenity
track, because there's 3 different colors of amenity, which is extremely important because driving up amenities will keep your population happy. And if you've ever played any SimCity game, you got to keep the population happy, because if you don't, you're not going to be happy what happens at the end when it's time for some scoring and stuff.
The amenity track that was tied to the building didn't always drive up the quality. That's what I was trying to get.
Correct.
That's what I was trying to
They're two separate things. I got you.
Yeah. And so you pick the amenity building, the blue amenity building. Well, maybe the blue amenity didn't drive up the blue quality. So you were having to balance between those. So you weren't getting one-for-one satisfaction out of these cards. And also some of the other ones help drive down population or the sadness of people. And the sadness was appease the people.
You appease the population. And they're unhappy. When you appease them, you end up making them happy, which is another marker you track on your amenity track. Basically, you want your population happiness marker to be as close to the amenity track tokens as possible. You don't want them a great distance, because eventually somebody's going to trigger a scoring for that amenity track. And if you've done well in this particular one particular track, then you're going to do better than others who maybe don't get anything.
But the rules even say you can't do it all.
Right.
So balance accordingly.
It did say, focus on one or two. Never try to do all three. It's just not worth it. So you sacrifice one or two during the game to try to get the benefit from one of the others. Now, another thing you can do on your turn is enact a law. I like this because every neighborhood board is a little bit different. There are 3 laws per neighborhood that you can enact, and they give you little bonuses or something like that. There's way too many to go over. Just know that every neighborhood has a law, and once per round, you can say, this time for this round, I'm going to activate this one particular law and get this benefit.
Mm-hmm. But there was one special. I want to highlight this card because this was the card that pissed me off. This was on the world stage. After so many events have occurred, Mari talked about the events.
No, I have not talked about the events at all. No, I haven't mentioned that at all. That was the last one because that's the biggest one. And one of the coolest thing about the game is the last thing you can do is activate an event card. See, don't even let me listen to me as I'm talking. So you have these event cards on the table. One thing you could do is like, I'm going to activate this particular event. What I like about this is one of the situations, the person who activates the event gets something. Then everybody else also gets something. Cool. I always like games like that. When that event is activated, it's turned over so that nobody else can activate that. Those event cards also trigger the end of the round. Once every event has been activated, round stops, reset, and go to another round, and you're going to play this over 3 rounds. Now, one of the event cards Tony just happened to reference is
on the world stage, which can only occur after 3 or more events have been played. So that's timing for everybody. And this event card says, hey, if this event is done, the person gains once. If you do this, you get to gain a statue, and you may place it anywhere on your board. It's a little fill-in, one by one, little shit, whatever. However, then all the players subtract their number of rubble, uncovered rubble on their board from the number of statues to determine where they are on the world stage. And based on what round you are in, if you have a certain value, for instance, let's say you subtract the number of rubble from statues and in the first round, you're -2 or lower, you're going to lose 6 victory points. Okay, that's fine. Oh, but if you're -1 or higher, you gain 6 victory points.
By round 3, you either lose 15 or gain 15 on the difference. And what this forces you to do, it's almost like feeding your people.
Yeah.
Meaning you need to cover up as much rubble as possible. One of the events you can take is called expansion. This is what Tony referenced earlier, where you can add spots to your neighborhood to build buildings. You reach into a bag, you pull out a piece, and you attach it to your existing neighborhood somewhere. Every piece will have at least one rubble icon on it. So when you expand, you immediately know, holy crap, I need to cover that thing up with the building. Just by covering up that rubble spot with the building, it's no longer visible. The benefit of this card is, like Tony said, when you get a statue if you activate it, so you can use that to immediately cover up rubble spots, then you count the difference. So you don't want any spots showing at all on your board, because when somebody takes this card, and timing is critical here. Some people are like want to jump on as fast as possible because they're going to score something, while others like don't want anything to do with it because they're going to suffer negative points.
For a tile laying game, I've never been a fan where I try to like patchwork, try to fit everything in together. Here, I was thankful that we didn't have to do that I didn't have to try to force everything and cover everything. I was happy that there were no negative points in this game from not covering up all my spaces. So you just kind of free form.
You just lose points on that one event card.
Yeah,
but
that's just it. If you have rubble still showing, you're going to get hurt. So you have to be careful. But other than that, you don't have to do that unless, I don't know. And everybody was like, okay, how do we continue to build this out? I don't want to take these expansions because I know on the world stage is coming. There was a lot of timing to this.
The timing, you said that that on the world stage can't even be triggered till after 3 events have been done. So you're in the clear until somebody takes that 3rd event. Then you got to figure somebody may actually, trigger that on the world stage. Now, the other event cards are really simple. Graduation is one where you can appease your population, which is nice. That's always good. Make them happier. See the sights is you gain $3, then everybody else will, based on icons that are showing on their board and where they are on the quality track for that type of icon, you could score points, you can score money. It just depends on which one is selected. In that there's actually 3 of those cards, one for each of the different types of colors and the on-world stage you mentioned, and then that's it. So once all the cards have been activated, round ends, you clear the buildings, put new buildings in there. But then, Tony, starting in the 2nd round, the very first thing you do is also a gut punch. You have to increase your unhappy population. And what you have to do is look at the current round, and the round says, oh, okay, in this round, increase your unhappiness by this amount. So you're always having to chase that population that gets more unhappy every round. Oh, and then at the very end of the round, you also have the profit phase. Everybody's going to get $5 per green dollar sign that's showing on their board. Another type of ability means you can build is green dollar signs. And also any cards that you drafted that have a profit phase ability on it, you'll get stuff during that time. So that's where you generate more money to use in the next round. And then basically at the end of the game, there's end of game scoring on victory points. You look at the victory point markers. Whoever's the highest wins the game.
Overall, I mixed feelings on this one. I don't know why it didn't grab me, but maybe it was fairly straightforward, easy teach. I like those that are easy teach with a lot of strategy, but there was just something about this. And I think it was on the world stage, when you get hit with something that seems to penalize so much, and then near the end of the game where people had their special end objectives they were able to build Wrigley Field and they got special in-game bonuses that appeared. Suddenly there was this big slingshot effect that occurred. You never felt like you were in the lead, or I know I wasn't, but how bad was I doing? And I think that was one of the mysteries. And sometimes I don't like that in a game. Like, where am I with everybody else? Where do I need to make up ground?
Now, I get that. So what you're talking about Wrigley Field. Whatever neighborhood you get special landmarks that come with neighborhood. Landmarks are just another building, but it's only available to you. So one of the things you could do, instead of building a building from buying a card from the row, you could actually pay to build your landmark, which is usually very expensive, but it's also very victory point heavy too. It's a good way to generate victory points. The thing about on the world stage is it could be a brutal gut punch. To me, if you don't like things like keeping your family fed, because to me, that's what it felt like. You're constantly chasing, making sure rubble spots are cleared up on your board. You're constantly knowing, because every round that's going to trigger. Just like in games where you have to feed the family. At the end it's coming. It's like, here's my population. Do I have enough food to feed them? It's a constant tension during the round that you have to focus on. This is another constant tension in the round, along with just trying to get victory points. So some people may not like that. Some people don't like this feeding of the people concept, and this is what it feels like.
Yeah, I didn't like it in Agricola.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you didn't.
Yeah.
So you're very consistent there, because that's, to me, it does create that cool tension. I can take it or leave it depending on how it's done. To me, it didn't bother me as much, but there was very much that once that third event was triggered and I'm looking at my board, I'm like, I am going to currently lose victory points if somebody triggers the on the world stage event. So I immediately pivot and go, I need to buy buildings to cover up as much rubble spots as I can, sort of deal, because I just don't want to get hit with that penalty.
And money was tight.
It was extremely tight. Yes. I think around the table, everybody else was like, okay with it. I don't think it blew anybody away. Nobody walked away going, that was the worst game ever. I just think it was like, okay, you know, that was a decent game. And that's kind of where it was left at.
Right. It's, you know, I often compare it to, for me, for tile-laying games, would I put this on the table for Donna? No way. I'd play it with you again, but I would not put this on the table for family and friends, because this whole, where the events were straightforward. Don't get me wrong. The events were straightforward, but I think the timing and all that would just cause so much AP with people who are not into these types of games or into the heavier game.
Yeah. So there you go. If you played Rebuilding Seattle, which I can't compare it to, unfortunately, we just didn't get to play that one. But you enjoyed that one. This one takes some of the same aspects and goes to this. The rulebook is available. You can go find it if you want to read through it and decide for yourself. Now, a lot of people are really going to like this game because they like that tension. They like the tile building, and they like a lot of different options that you have on your turn. And if that's the case, then you should definitely check out Rebuilding Chicago from WizKids Games.
2-player historical war games. We've been putting a lot of these on the table, and we've got a new one from Draco Ideas. Castelnuovo, 1539. Come If You Dare, by Francisco Ronco. Now, this is in 1539. We've got the Ottomans trying to drive out the Spanish in a fortress. They're coming by sea. They're coming by land. The Ottomans, they're going to take this fortress, but the Spaniards are like, come if you dare. You will die. And being the Ottomans when we played, we did die. And that is the way the Spaniards, if there is 12 people who die on the Ottoman side, the Spaniards win. But I, as the Ottomans, if I'm able to wrestle that castle from Marty and claim the 3 victory point, then I win.
It's one of those games that historically the Spaniards did lose. They are going to lose over the course of the game. I like this game in that the result is going to be what it is. Historically, you would not have a different result. It's just how long it takes. If, like you said, if the Spaniards can pick off enough of their guys before they get taken over, they ended up winning the game. But if they can't, and basically, like you said, there's 3 points in the fortress where if the Ottomans gain control, that triggers the end of the game. But I like that because even though if I took out enough of your guys, we say, stop, congrats, you won. But as time would have went on, the Spaniards would eventually be taken over. So I like it's like you can't have alternate history, right? The result will be the same. It's just how well can you defend and take out maybe some of those attackers. Now, this is very much a card-driven game, Tony. We have asymmetric decks. We got cards in our hand. And on your turn, you're just going to play as many cards in your hand. Those could be moving. If you happen to move to an area, you're going to fight. That could be bringing up your guys. You had fleets that you had. You could move from those fleets onto the land. I could build bastions rebuild bastions out in the area that you possibly take out. I can repair walls as you take them out. I can move my guys around. So to me, what's interesting about this game, it's off the rails, meaning you have tons of options on what to do on your turn. It does not hold your hand. It's like, well, maybe this turn you should do this. You can do anything you want to do. Move anywhere you want. Attack almost anywhere you want. If you got the cards to be able to do it, do it. And that makes it a very tactical game that I feel like you'd have to play over and over again in order to build strategy and be really good at it.
And each side has different capabilities. For instance, the Ottomans, both sides had cavalry, both had pikemen, and then you had guns. So that gave you an advantage, which made perfect sense for the time.
And historically, this was true. The Spaniards at this time were known for their rifles, their long rifles.
We had leaders that were out there that had various rules attached to them on how they can move with the troops.
And they gave you bonuses. Leaders being with the guys gave them a moral boost. Basically, during combat, it would help out their dice rolls.
Your guy did. I only had one. I had two other that were back there just enjoying the fine views from the various hillsides, not doing anything for me other than being cannon fodder. Fine. I'm not bitter. No. The other aspect of this game that I enjoyed was how the Ottomans came into the battle. First, we sent out an expeditionary force in round one. Our fleet came and we put some people on the ground. And then it ramped up for the Ottomans. We came from the land and from the sea, which put pressure on you. The Ottomans also had, or the Turks also had, the ability to do trenches that gave us a battle. Other things when you think of warfare, you think of the various strategic elements of it, who's got the high ground. This is key.
Because the board is laid out basically in regions or areas, and each region has an elevation. So attacking from a higher elevation, I've got the high ground, Anakin. Attacking from a higher elevation is going to help you with your combat rolls. So positioning very much matters in the game. That's what I say. It's so open-ended. It is very much a typical war game. It's like, all right, here's the land and how it works. How you use it's totally up to you. I'm glad you brought up trenches. Trenches are really interesting. What I love about these games, too, is I love reading at the history. And so I really got into reading about the history of this because I'd never heard of it. And Ottomans basically built trenches. This is one of the first examples early in history of using trench warfare that stayed around for hundreds of years. Basically building trenches up to the fortress to protect them from the cannons that were sitting in the fortress, which me as the Spaniard could use to fire upon you. But if you're sitting in a trench, it's harder for me to hit.
Another thing about this game, when we talk about warfare games and playing cards, going through your deck is not detrimental. Now, the Ottomans have to insert a couple of cards that can impact them later. That was something I did poorly in our first play. I did not utilize the deck mechanics like I should have to help me find various cards that I need, because there are limited cards such as, being able to move or build the trenches. You didn't see a few cards or possibly that you were able to get to. So I like that about this game. I also really like that even though the Spaniards are going to win, people are saying that, then why play it?
The Ottomans are going to win.
Well, I'm sorry, the Ottomans, well, you won, but so it's embraced, it's in my brain that they're going to win. But you're right. Ottomans are going to win. Then why play this if we know the Ottomans are going to win? Because there are dice. And whenever you're rolling dice, anything can happen. And
I love the simplicity of this. Is basically 5s and 6s are hits. The cards you play will tell you how many dice you're going to roll. Depending on the leaders and stuff you have on the board, you may get bonuses to your roll. There may be certain cases, hey, when you play this card, instead of 5s and 6s hitting, 4 5s and 6s will hit. Depending on how you play your cards and set everything up, you can increase your chances of taking hits. Now, we didn't explain what these units look like, Tony. These are square blocks of wood that I gracefully took my time to sticker before we got together. I didn't make you sticker anything. Okay. Actually, it wasn't that bad for this one. I think we've played games like this in the past. I know this may be common, but I love the way the units are represented. Basically, each side of the block has their health. So they start out full health. It's also very risk-like, Tony, meaning I see the back of your blocks, but I don't know who they are or what they are until we actually fight. And then when we fight, we both reveal what blocks are going to be in battle. We're going to basically possibly play cards that helps us in the offense and the defense. We're going to roll up dice, apply hits, and then we rotate. We put our blocks back to standing and rotate the blocks to show the amount of hits we've taken. if the hits go down, if you have 0 health left, they just come right off the board. But during combat, I love this, Tony, is during this time was very much a rock, paper, scissors style of combat. Pikemen beat cavalry. Cavalry beat the guns beat the pikemen. I think that's the way it was. And so depending on who was in the battle at the time would determine who hits and who rolls first. So for example, if you had cavalry and I had pikemen, the pikemen get to go first because they get the first hit to get the cavalry. If my pikemen weren't there, cavalry get to go first. I like that too. So that's also part of the strategy of what blocks am I going to bring into a battle, knowing what blocks he might have, and then we finally see what they are. We see the order of the way the attacks will occur. Loved it.
Another thing I enjoyed about the game was as the Ottomans, at the end of the round, I declare, am I going to try to siege or am I going to try to assault? Siege allows us to keep 4 cards in our hand or draw up to 4. Assault allows me to go to 7 cards, which lets me play a lot more because Ottomans are going first. So I can play as many cards as I want, except at the end, I have to increase my casualty. And at the very beginning of us talking, if I hit 12, game over for the Ottomans. Spaniards win.
So basically, whenever you take an assault action, you automatically increase your casualty. But the benefit is you get a bunch of cards in your hand with the idea it's like, this time I'm going strong and I'm going to fight sort of deal. But you're taking a hit for doing so. Because historically, we read that Ottomans just threw people out there, man. Ottomans, I had a card called Friendly Fire to where if Tony ever shot cannons, I could play a Friendly Fire card. And if there was other Ottomans in the line of sight of where those cannons were, they may take hits in the process. And the historical note said, oh yeah, they didn't care. They had some of their ground guys out there. It's like, just go ahead and fire some cannonballs. If we take out some of our own, whatever. So it's the same thing with the assault track. We're going to assault. Okay, yeah, we're going to take some casualties, but we're going to go in strong. So thematically it fit.
Now I finally breached the walls. I finally got some good bombardments going.
I like this too. The breaching of the walls had different strengths. You had basically cannons that you had to bombard with, and each hit on a wall reduced the strength of the wall. And if I didn't get it taken care of, basically, that allowed you to breach. So there were certain sections of the fortress that were weaker than the others. All right, so go ahead. So walls are gone. You can come in now.
I've been knocking on the door. I can finally come in. And I'll admit, I needed to get more troops. I should have had, if I could have gotten more movement cards, I would have had a better force. But did you feel the tension ramp up? Because that's one thing about these war games. Did the tension ramp up as we went along? It did for me because I saw the casualty track climbing, and I'm sitting there going, I cannot afford another assault because if you suddenly then wipe out these forces I'm bringing into the fortress, I'm going to lose the game. But did you feel like you were ever in jeopardy once I finally breached the walls?
Oh, 100%, because then you easily had one of the spots that you could take over. I had no guys there, so you could just walk into one of the victory point scoring areas and immediately take it. I had dedicated a lot of my troops outside of the fortress to try to take you out as you're coming in, to where I felt like I need to scramble back to get inside the fortress to try to take out the forces that you brought inside the walls.
So I'm just going to say this one is a level of strategy and play that I enjoy in these war games. There are some, I'll throw it out there. GMT makes amazing games, but some of them are very complex. This is, I think, a medium level that I could put on the table with someone who's, not into the heavy war games, not into that, but I could easily teach them.
I agree. Rules-wise, very easy to understand. But like I said at the beginning of this segment, it's so open-ended. The strategy is very deep because it is so open-ended. Oh, I got a move card. Who am I going to move? You can move anybody that's on the board. What makes sense to you? When you move, you got movement points. And depending on the type of units, the number of units you can move, as you move across the terrain, some is a little bit harder to cross. And you have to use up movement points to actually cross into certain areas. So all these little calculations are going on. But the rules of understanding what movement are in battle are extremely easy to understand. So it's one of those classic cliche things. Easy to learn, hard to master.
Oh, yeah. Really enjoyed the game. Well done over there at Draco. Woo, soft clap. We're going to give you a golf clap here, and I look forward to playing this again to see either side. It didn't matter. I would like to try to win on the Ottomans, but I really did enjoy this game.
Yeah, I love learning about the historical aspects of this. I knew nothing about this. Now I know a little bit more. I like the use of the classic wood blocks with the stickers. I think it's really cool. It gives you that risk feel of like, I don't know what I'm getting ready to face sort of deal. So all that's kind of neat. I enjoyed it too. I had a blast. And again, I have such a huge collection of historical games that, I can't keep them all. This one, because the rules are so light, and the game only lasts 60 to 90 minutes tops, it's a really sweet spot for a 2-player game. Castelnuovo, 1539. The conventions are starting to crank up. Right now, as we're recording this, the UK Gaming Expo is getting ready to happen. Some new games are going to be teased there. Then we got Origins, we got Gencon, which means a lot of new games will be coming to the market. And one of the best places to go and pre-order those games is over at miniaturemarket.com, because as soon as they go up for pre-order, place a pre-order, go ahead and pay for it, say put it on hold. And then as you add more pre-order items to your list, once it gets to the point that all those items have been released and are available, and has crossed that free shipping threshold of $100, go say, hey, take those, release them, send them my way so I can have some new game goodness. Likewise, if you keep an eye out on their new releases, you're going to see when these pop up. There's actually a page that you can go to and look for new pre-orders so you can stay up to date on what's coming out, what the prices are going to be. They're always very competitive with their prices, and you can find all this over at miniaturemarket.com.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Toy Battle from Paolo, Mori, and Alessandro Zucchini. And this is a capture the flag type game, capture the headquarter game, where we have two armies, two soldier type armies, two toys armies that are going after one another, who are trying to get to the other person's headquarters, defeat those people in I'd call it almost like a war game, the card game War.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty fair with it. Moving across the board, trying to provide victory points that you can capture, get a certain amount of victory points you can win. If you capture the other person's headquarters, you can win. I mean, this is a really fun, deep thinker war game.
This is one of those games that I heard a lot about. People telling me about it. It's like, I don't get it. Toy battle. So I'm controlling a bunch of little cute little toy units. But then I played it and I went, all right, I get it. This is pretty good. Game comes with a lot of different maps, a lot of different boards. It only plays in 15 minutes. On your turn, you're going to start out with a certain number of tiles that you draw. And then on your turn, you can place a tile. The placement rules are very simple. They must be in a line of your tokens that create a path all the way back to your headquarters. If that path is ever broken, you cannot attach beyond that path until you reestablish that line. It's almost like a supply line, which is cool. But it's not as just straightforward as like, just putting guys out, because every unit has a certain special ability. Like there's one unit that allows you to break the rule of where you place them on the board, because you can place it anywhere. You can take over other people's tiles, because each type of tile has a rank up to rank 7. So if Tony has a tile out there, one of his toys that's rank 5, if adjacent to my line of tokens, I can place one of my 6 or 7 tokens on top of his and take that spot over. By doing that, maybe I'm breaking up his line or reducing his chance of taking control of an area to earn these victory point tokens, which could contribute towards a potential victory condition.
It's a bluffing game.
You think?
Yeah. Do you?
Oh, I see what you're saying, because let's say that 5 is sitting out there. And it's like, you're thinking, does he have a 6 or 7 to take this guy?
Do I want to waste my one that I know can easily? I place my 5 out there, and did I just force him to place his 6 to try to, or has he drawn it yet? Because on your turn, instead of placing, you can just draw 2 tiles. You're forfeiting, but you will eventually need to draw that because there will be stacks of varying strengths. This was a fun game. I say that because I lost all the time. That's why it's not a great game. No, I'm kidding. It was a great game. It was so quick to play. Yes, you can get hampered by what you draw. There is a hand limit of 8, so you can't just keep trying to find the tiles that you want. But it is very strategic in the placements, trying to maneuver. I don't want to compare it to checkers, but yeah, you're trying to set something up to force someone else to do something that allows you to say, "Oh, aha, I got you." Double jump along those lines. I was Marty. I was like, okay, I want you to really go here because I've got something in hand that's going to force you to do that. Multiple maps. That's great. Some of them are really cool. I like the ones that you could only put certain tiles in certain locations. That one was a really fun map. Very good game. Very good family game. Easy to teach. Highly recommend if you can get you a copy.
Yeah, so Paolo Mori, we've liked so many of his games, Ethnos, some of his other 20-minute 2-player games, etc. He just really comes up with these really cool concepts. I at first was like, on the toy. It's almost like too kiddie. How good would this be? But then I played it. It was like, all right, regardless of the theme, this is a good 2-player strategy game. It really is. It's a cool, deep thinker. The maps keep it fresh because every map plays a little bit differently. Every map has different scoring conditions. Some are like, this one you got to collect 6 tokens, and this one you got to collect 7. So it's going to depend on the map that you play. Every unit's a little bit different. But I also like, Tony, that both sides control the exact same units. You have the same number of each and the same type. So you know what they have. You know what's been used, so you can kind of track, he's already used all of his 7s, so I know if I place a 6 here, he can't take it, that sort of deal. Really, really good game. I get the praise for this game. So yeah, I highly recommend. I can't get over how much fun I had with this, y'all, for just a 15-minute game. It's solid. It's good. That's Toy Battle from Paolo Mori, Alessandro Zucchini, and the publisher is Repost Production.
5-minute initiative is complete.
All right, Tony, so while you continue to play just one game, I'm playing a lot of video games over here. Big game just came out from Capcom, Pragmata. I finished it up. Solid game. Very much enjoyed that game. I played it on the PlayStation 5. This is a third-person shooter game, but it has a really cool story of basically a moon base that's destroyed. This didn't give anything away. Moon base is destroyed. There's one survivor that happens to run across an android that looks just like a little blonde-headed girl. Droid basically helps you fight against the monsters and robots that are in the base. And so your goal is, I'm trying to get back to Earth and also figure out what happened. And it has guns, shooting and stuff like that. But what's special about the girl is she hacks the enemies. So what happens is I press a trigger and a grid comes up on the screen. And using my D-pad, I try to get from the start of where I am to the finish and through this maze. And depending on the type of blocks I go through, I may boost my strength. So when I hit the finish, there's a window of opportunity that opens up that when I hit him, I just do tons of damage. So as they're approaching me, you're pulling up this grid and trying to fast get through the maze so that you can deal a ton of damage to it. It is a cute game, great voice acting, and only plays in 15 hours. So this has been a highlight game for me. The only downside is after about 12, 13 hours, the combat gets samey, but I really wanted to see where the story went in the end. And it has a lot of heart, because if you're a parent, especially if you're the parent of a daughter, I'm not, but I can see where this would tug at your heartstrings every so often while playing this game.
Okay. This fast replay type hacking thing, yeah, that just turned me right off. I don't. And when you were talking about it, I'm trying to go back and I can see the image of the deep sea diver in that game. It made me think of that game, and I'm trying to remember what that was called. I was trying to pull up my Steam account to see. What was that shooter game that was you were down in the horror underworld, and you had the big deep sea diver guys. Oh, I'll look it up here in a minute. But no, I'm glad you enjoyed it. 15 hours, huh? I wouldn't know how to finish a game if I tried. I'd be trying. Is there no side quest to this thing? What's going on?
Yeah, sure. There are like these special upgrades and stuff that you can continue to look for throughout the game if you want. But no, I'm kind of a main story guy. I just kind of mainline the story. I just want to see what happens. I don't do a bunch of the side stuff. That's how I always play games. Because I got a queue of game, man. I've got other games coming up. I've got to play. I got to move on beyond this one. Speaking of which, another game is we got a key for this game to review for the show. R-Type Dimensions 3. This is a remake of an SNES game from 1993 called R-Type 3. Can you picture it? Or it's a shoot 'em up game or shmups game where basically the ship moving from left to right, you upgrade your guns and you're just trying to shoot through everything.
Okay,
that type of arcade shooter.
Bioshock.
I was getting ready to say Bioshock, and it was like, but where was the hacking in that?
There wasn't, but I'm just saying you're talking about the female, the little girl. I'm trying to remember.
But imagine a female, but a little girl that's not creepy.
Okay.
And you actually like her. So it's totally different. So R-Type 3 is considered one of the hardest shoot 'em ups around. This is a faithful recreation, meaning it is one of the hardest shoot 'em ups around. There's two modes. There's called the Infinity mode and the regular arcade mode. Arcade mode is you start, you got a certain number of lives. You die, you go all the way back to the beginning and you begin again.
No, I don't.
It is hard as crap because you have to memorize everything. It's like, oh, that's right. On this one, this monster's going to show up and it's going to do this and it's going to shoot this way. And as you're shooting, you get your upgrades and you can start with one of three different types of weapons. And whichever one you upgrade, you're going to makes it shoot a little bit better. Maybe shoot more bullets, maybe shoot wider, maybe shoot behind you. It's just that typical shooter. It is extremely difficult. What's also interesting, there's two modes. There's a 3D mode, which is a brand new mode, and the classic mode. What's wild is as you play the game, you can press a button to swap between the two. I actually found it was harder in the new 3D mode. Because sometimes there was so much stuff on the screen, I couldn't tell what a hittable object was. The background has a lot of stuff going on, and I couldn't tell is that just a background image or something I need to avoid. So many times during mid-gameplay, I would press the button to go back to the old school SNES look, and I could easily track where everything was better.
Okay.
My final thoughts on the game is, this game is super hard. I don't know how much time I'll spend. If I ever play it, it's in Infinity mode. Infinity mode means when you die, you just come back to life right where you were and you try to continue. So you can just go as long as you want if you want to continue doing that way. It is a very hard game. So if you're looking for a challenge, shoot 'em ups, you have R-Type Dimensions 3. For me, it's a little too hard. And it's kind of odd that new visual format, the 3D, actually sometimes makes it harder to see what is going on.
Okay.
But I'm glad it gives you the option of toggling between the two.
All right. Well, yes, I haven't gone beyond my Guild Wars thing, but I was talking to his son-in-law and he was like, he's excited for, and he's getting ready to start Mouse PI for Hire.
Yep. I've pre-ordered the physical version. Yes.
I figured you had. He says he likes the noir feel of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and he was showing it. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be a game for me. It's a, strange, interesting shoot 'em up, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that one's a first person shooter.
Yeah. And so he's all excited for that one. I said, I wonder if Marty's heard of this one. He's like, yeah, this looks like a fun game.
Oh, yeah. I've been tracking it. It was like, I just wanted the physical version, and they're coming out with a Switch 2 physical in the middle of the summer. Already pre-ordered, got it. So what's interesting on R-Type, there is a physical version coming out for it too. I appreciate them supporting physical. I had it ready to pre-order. I think I'm going to pass on the physical version pre-order.
Okay.
It's just a little too tough for me. If you want a challenge, then check this out. And speaking of challenge, you're not going to like this one either. What I was excited about was Sektori. Just came out for the Switch Did you like Geometry Wars in the Xbox 360? Remember you had the square and you had the ship in the middle and it was a twin stick shooter?
What did you just say?
A twin stick shooter.
And how do I feel about twin stick shooters?
So Sektori you're not going to like either because it is Geometry Wars on steroids. So you have a ship, you move, you shoot. But what's crazy is the board changes and morphs over time. So it's not just an open area. It's different. The arena is different shapes. And as you're playing, a red background will start flashing of where the new walls are going to come in. So you have to avoid those areas as it morphs into the new arena. It is wild. It is challenging too, but it's my type of challenge. I like these twin stick shooter types of challenge games, and it gets insane. So I bought Sektori, and I am loving it.
Okay. Twins. No. Don't need that. Sorry.
No Robotron, no Smash TV.
Nope, none of those. I tried them. I was like, okay, I've tried them. Maybe I could get to them. Nope, I cannot.
Geometry Wars is a game I spent many, many hours on the 360. I can't tell you the number of times I played that game.
I just looked that up and I remember that. So I'm like, okay. I remember Geometry Wars, and I was like, I tried it. I didn't like it. So I never made it on my play. Yeah, you play all the good games. I have to play through you.
Well, you could buy any game you want and play it.
Yeah, but that would mean I was looking at my Steam when I pulled it up to look at BioShock, and I'm like, man, I never did get to all those games.
Yeah, I don't think I ever, that's a shame. I don't think I finished BioShock.
Oh, I know.
Which I really should.
Yeah, I never did. I was like, this is unreal. All the games. I was sitting there thinking, what about Torchlight and Orcs Must Die?
Oh, those are all good too.
All right. Well, anything else? I can't think of anything. I say we call this.
No, I think
Okay. I think we call this a show, don't you?
I like it. It's a show.
All right. We're going to keep rolling dice
and taking names. Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening. Make sure to join us on Discord. You can find those links over on our website, rolldicetakenames.com. You'll see a link to the Discord invite. You'll also see links to our social media page. And if you want to support the show, you can also always do so by heading over to buymeamoonpie.com. Any help would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you in the next episode.
You know, at the end of the show, I think I did a good job from that standpoint, keeping it in check.
Hey, kudos to you. That's only the third time this episode.